want to go out, want to stay in, get things done.
Feeling great.
Feeling with my hands. How you feeling, Dan?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. What's the deal?
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band Good Time Podcast, the only podcast right now that identifies, biographies, and pixelates. No.
Pixelates? No.
Digitizes.
Rasterizes.
It's roster
Digitizes.
all the figures on the Beatles 1967 album cover, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I am one of your hosts, Joe Lindbergh, and I am joined
By one of your other hosts, Dan Handelman.
and together we are joined.
By our other host,
Jamie.
Welcome back, Jamie Lekthai.
Winston Lake.
Winston, I'd like to just give this to you on behalf of British public.
British public. Blues John.
Your blues, John. Your blues, John.
Thank you for having me back, guys.
Absolutely. We had a great time with you yesterday when we did it.
Yeah.
As far as they know.
It was yesterday.
Yeah.
it was yesterday.
Yeah, you were sitting over here then.
Remind me,
That was yesterday.
it was actually 30 seconds ago. All we did was change seats. Nothing in the world has changed. Nothing in politics has
We've been in this
changed.
room for
About
more-
45 minutes.
45 minutes, yeah, exactly.
45 minutes tops.
Tops. Yeah.
Yeah, because the last time we talked about,
Yeah, remind me.
oh, Lord.
Stuart
The-
Sutcliffe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
OG one.
And who was he again?
He was like one of the OG Beatles. He was the first bass player.
Bass player, correct.
So those keeping score at home.
Mm-hmm.
We also talked about Klaus Vormann in that one, and I learned a lot more about him since. So Klaus Vormann was...
You're telling me in the past 45 minutes you've learned
yeah.
a substantial amount more.
Stepped right in it, yeah. Stepped into the download.
Plugged into the internet and
Yeah.
just downloaded everything.
You can do that.
Did you know? Did you know?
Just do that.
Did you know you can just do that?
Plug in,
You can just do that.
plug in, and tune out.
Yeah, you can just plug it in and be like, "What do you think of this?"
What do you think of this award?
You got a plug? Here, hold on. What do you think of that?
So, Jamie, we all know that you're a connoisseur when it comes to music. I have
Correct.
a lot of respect for your musical taste. In fact, we were just listening to the EDM Beach Boys album last night. Didn't know the Beach Boys had an EDM record, but
Correct.
they did.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds awesome.
Jamie's also
It's a really good
a
album.
big comedy fan.
Correct. I love comedy.
And today we're talking about
Love to laugh.
Max Miller, who was one of the
Max
first
Miller.
stand-up comedians.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie, what's your sort of thing with comedy? What's your whole deal with comedy?
What's your deal?
What's my deal?
Yeah,
Elaborate. What do you mean, like?
like what's your vibe when it
What's my
comes
vibe?
to jokes and laughing?
I'm a big fan of physical comedy. I think that was really what got me into comedy when I first grew up. It's like Jim Carrey, obviously, was iconic, but
Oh, yeah.
Chris Farley
Mhm.
was a huge like inspiration. But I would say early comedy was my parents' SNL, you know,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. George Carlin, so kind of all over the place. But I just like
Physical
to laugh.
comedy, satire.
Yeah, satires are great. Yeah,
I know you're into National Lampoon.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good stuff.
All right.
Fantastic stuff. I actually just acquired a couple months ago the full, discography on vinyl of George Carlin's stand-up.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
How
I'm
much
go-
did that run you?
I got it for free? Actually, I have a coworker that I met. Had an old collection of vinyl. Wanted to just give it away to somebody.
Love that.
Acquired
That's
it.
what
free.
George would have wanted.
So I haven't listened to all of them, but it's good.
Nice.
You should try playing them all at once. You almost had a spit take there. That was good.
That would have been
How
great.
long, if you played all of George Carlin's albums at once, all of them at the same time, how long do you think it
Okay,
would
so
take?
do this.
for the word-
Just start talking.
Hold
It
on.
would
hold
circle the planet 5
Start
times,
talking.
and then it would circle the planet 5 times more.
albums
And,
does he
like
have?
I'll start talking, and
Then
this is what it would sound like.
How
It would
many
sound.
on? How many
It
albums?
would make a sound.
Probably has like 8 albums.
8 albums. All right, so 8 albums. All
6 or something.
you start playing them all at the same time. how long do you think it would take for them to all sync up with him saying fuck at the same time?
Oh, that's actually really cool. That would be pretty sweet. That or like, what if like his voice just like went into this like it all syncopated into this like natural like tone, like a frequency.
It's like, yeah. It just starts sounding
sounds
like Tuvan throat singing.
Yeah, like
Yes.
Dune, like just
Yeah, the overtones.
yeah.
Yeah, overtone singing is just all of George Carlin's albums played at once. That's how they learned to do that in Tibet. They got George Carlin like as soon like he just blew up over there in Tibet.
Tibet.
Everyone had a Carlin record, and since Tibet's so small, they were all playing them at the same time, in those windows.
And it opened a door to a different reality.
Just a whole different genre of
I
music.
mean, it was definitely brushed under the rug. Very hush hush. We'll probably get in trouble if we're actually talking about it right now.
You think?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Is listening to George Carlin cultural appropriation?
What?
It's certainly cultural.
What are
I
your
don't know if it's appropriate.
who are your comedy G's?
Top comedy G's. Andy Kaufman is a top tier
Nice.
He's great.
for me. Bill Murray, Will Ferrell, Craig Proops,
Greg Proops.
the San
Greg
San Fran.
Proops.
He's one of the rotating fourth guests on Whose Line Is It Anyway?
He's also the smartest man in the world,
he the tall one?
self-proclaimed.
No, that's Ryan Stiles. No, that's Ryan Stiles.
He's the one that looks like the dude, the cartoon of the Descendants. The guy on the Descendants album covers. He looks like that.
Oh,
He also looks like he looks like Austin Powers actually,
He does kind of look like Austin Powers.
oh yeah.
and he's got like Andrew Jackson hair.
Oh
That was
yeah,
such a
baby.
that was a great show. I love that.
Whose Line?
Yeah.
Oh,
my
yeah.
Gosh. I feel like that was like back when TV still was like a staple where like you were like, oh, I've got my Wednesday show. I can watch that 70s show or whatever. But yeah, it's good stuff.
Speaking of Whose Line, Drew Carey connection there.
Oh yeah. Drew Carey also looks like the cover of the Descendants album.
Even more so, yeah. But
Cher laughed with that. That was interesting. I think the
Nice.
leather combined with the leather, and it was like,
Drew Carey brings us to Cleveland, which brings us to where we are now. Also,
Golden Ox Studio.
the Golden Ox Studio here in Cleveland, Ohio.
We
Down
love
in Tremont.
it. We love it at Golden Ox.
We do. It's great to be back here again for 45 minutes later.
45
A
minutes.
lot has changed in the past 45 minutes.
Well, you learned so much more about Stuart Sutcliffe.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but time stands still in Golden Ox Studio, right? Like right now,
Yeah, it's
There's
kind
like
of a
the-
Videodrome
there's the
situation.
cat thing going on right now. That's the only movement of time that we have going on right now.
It's sort of like a Cronenberg Videodrome kind of situation. In fact,
It's our own thing.
not being weird, but you should probably check under your shirt and make sure that you don't have a
But-
VHS cassette tape player. built
Honestly,
into
this
your
could
chest.
be an episode of The Twilight Zone.
It could be.
It's probably been discussed in this room before at one point.
I don't know. I
don't
couldn't
think-
tell you.
I
I
don't-
can tell you that there used to be a podcast.
No, yeah, I
there
thought-
used to be a podcast at Golden Ox called the Zone Zone.
The Zone Zone.
A friend of mine,
Okay.
Dave Seville, who we all know, him and someone else used to talk
know.
about all the episodes of the Twilight Zone, which is also a great idea.
It is.
I don't think they went over the 80s Twilight Zone because why would you?
That still got the best opening scare though, with Dan Aykroyd in the car. Do you remember that one? Or was that The Outer Limits?
Was that the movie?
That was the movie. Yes.
The movie thing had Dan Aykroyd. Yeah.
So good.
Someone got their head chopped off while that movie was being made. A helicopter crashed and the blade chopped off a bunch of people's heads. I'm not joking, when they made the Twilight Zone movie.
Was Alec Baldwin flying the helicopter?
Oh.
Oh God.
Too soon.
Didn't he get? I don't want to get off track. That's a different story.
But yeah, here we are at the Golden Ox Studio, home of the 1 5-star review.
Home of the New Flesh. Long live the New Flesh. There's one review. It's not really a review. It's just kind of a rating.
Okay.
But let's see what that rating is. Because I want to know how the one person that decided to rank their experience at Golden Ox 5 stars.
5 stars.
Golden Ox Studio,
Well done.
Cleveland, Ohio, 5 out of 5 stars.
That's pretty good.
It's great. It's the top.
Hard to
Hey,
They
you
set the
can't-
bar. They
There's
set
no
the
higher
bar.
recommendation
They
than
exceeded
5
it.
stars.
Yeah.
How can you top
they
that?
exceeded it.
How many other podcasting studios in Cleveland have 5 stars?
Let me check.
Let alone
None.
a single 5-star review.
Yeah, that's 100% 5 stars.
100% of the rankings are 5-star rankings.
So we're honored to be here again,
Correct.
Privileged.
even.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to check our privilege right now to get into some funny business.
Checking in at the door.
We're talking about Max Miller,
Maxwell Miller.
who
Well,
seems to be one of the first stand-up comedians in the way that we at least think of stand-up. He was definitely one of the most popular of his generation. He was born Thomas Henry Sargent on November 21st, 1894.
Interesting.
Sergeant.
Yeah,
I
Mm.
wonder if that had anything to factor
it's
into.
spelled differently.
But
It's not just 3 letters.
That much differently. I think there's just not an. How do you spell sergeant, like in the general sense? And I don't mean
S-A-
general like a I mean general like if you're a general in the military.
I feel
How
like
would
it's
you
like
spell?
SARGENT? But I feel like there's an A in there. It's like one of
Yeah.
those weird ones. It's like,
I think it's just the A and then the E.
yeah, you know.
SAER SEAR sergeant
Sergeant.
sergeant. That's like how if you type it into the text to
Sergeant.
speech, you're like sergeant,
C agent. C teller.
agent,
Oh, it's like when you try to
Agent?
do, what's it called?
C agent man.
To
Sergeant Pepper,
what?
Sergeant Pepper.
Agent Cooper.
See, Sergeant Pepper, goddammit. Sergeant Pepper. Sergeant Pepper. All right, yeah. His father was a manual laborer, and his laborer.
Hardly know her.
Annual Hayhaber.
Hey,
That's an interesting name. hey, there.
his
Hey, neighbor.
mother sold flowers. Jesus Christ!
She was a drug dealer?
It doesn't say that she was a florist. It says she sold flowers. He had-
So what got him though into being a comedian?
I think being poor,
Because he was around like early on. We were
Oh, yeah.
discussing that like because we talked about it before.
Before him, everybody was sitting down.
Well, his family was poor. He had 3 other brothers and 2 sisters, and they moved around a lot because they couldn't afford rent. So he was always changing schools. That probably has an effect on your sense of humor.
Mhm.
But
A lot of material to work with.
he dropped out of
True.
school
A
at
lot
the
of angst,
tender
versus
age.
creativity. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the original Bono.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, he was the first.
Fantastic I don't think we'll ever hear that comparison ever again. That's amazing.
That was grunge, wasn't it?
What's that? Comedy with or
U2?
U2?
You too.
Yeah,
You talking U2 to me?
It was a little
I
grungy.
guess U2 would
Yeah.
be like,
No, U2 would like practice in like school rooms
mm,
when they just started out.
yeah.
And,
All right.
and they would do like shows that were kind of like protest shows. They were
Yeah, so like more punk.
Okay.
activist. Yeah.
I'd say more punk.
Well, Max Miller dropped out of school at 12 years old. So if
A ripe age.
Wow.
Of 12. That's crazy.
That's
Right,
like
the
sixth
tender-
grade
tender,
education.
What did this?
it was probably senior year back then, but
Yeah, but I mean, with the life. What year? What year was this?
14.
Was this like turn of the century?
Well, he was born in 1894, so
Okay,
when he was
so yeah.
12, it would have been 1906.
So,
So it's just after the turn of the century.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, life expectancy at that point. I mean, dropping out of school at 12 is not unrealistic.
Probably all of his
You know.
siblings dropped out of school.
yeah.
Yeah, it's because there wasn't any probably slave labor at that point.
No,
Children's labor. Well,
not in England. We all know the
Not
English.
my England.
They didn't have kids working like that in the coal mines. Not England.
Just Oliver.
They totally did.
Just
Anyway.
the every boy. Just Charles Dickens's Every Orphan. It's an every orphan story, you know?
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
Even if you're not an orphan, you can relate.
You
to
can
it.
relate to
You'd be
orphans.
like, you know what? I think I could be an orphan after reading Dickens. I think I could go up and be like, please, sir, can I have some more soup?
Some more. And
It's like it's almost like romanticized, you know? Like Peter Pan is basically just a homeless orphan fantasy.
No, Peter Pan was just a
children
kid that just didn't want to go to bed.
But you're supposed to relate to the other kids, Wendy and Michael and John, and they don't want to have parents. They just want to kick it. And that's what it was like in England because parents were so strict, all the kids wanted to be orphans.
how strict were they?
They were so strict that you could find an old man to work for usually 2 shillings a day. And sometimes you would see titties.
So you dropped out of school, 12?
Yeah, he dropped out of school at 12, and then 8 years later, World War I started. 1940.
Coincidence?
I don't know. I don't know.
He's the one that he was the tipping point for the
He
war.
he immediately enlisted. Maybe some kind of guilt.
Maybe.
No, because his last name is Sergeant.
Yeah. He was already, he was born.
He was
Be a leader.
predisposed. Yeah.
He was Brit. Yeah.
Anyway, so the war happens.
So he was like 20 years old at this point, and he served in France, India, Mesopotamia, which I didn't even know was a country in the
Mesopotamia.
1930s. Yeah.
Shout out to Mesopotamia.
Right? Shout out to
No,
Mesopotamia.
no one's talking about Mesopotamia
That's
anymore.
where all the monsters come from in horror movies, right?
Yeah.
Mesopotamia.
I think you're right.
Anyway, he was blinded for 3 days while he was in Mesopotamia.
Blinded?
Goddamn. Yeah, blinded.
By what?
The
I
light?
don't know.
Yeah. The light?
Was he staring at the sun?
Probably, I don't know, probably poison or something. It was only for 3 days, but when he got older later on in life, he was an advocate for the blind. That became a big deal to him in his old age.
Interesting.
It's good to find a
He was
cause.
already performing while he was in the Army. He started a troop concert party, which are also called Perot shows.
Perot shows.
If you don't know what a Perot show is, look it
Nope.
up. It's like Punch and
Rochambeau?
Judy, but you dress up as the characters, if you can imagine that. Basically, you're like everyone's a clown, and it's a soap opera about clowns fucking each other
It's
over.
it's just clowns.
Clowns getting fucked over by other clowns, getting revenge.
But it's just
And-
clowns
But
though.
yeah, but they're clowns.
But they're the not scary clowns.
no,
they're, like the
they're
ones
French clowns.
with like the little white cap
yes,
and the white face. I mean,
Yes.
clowns are still scary.
Oh, like
Pointed
the
white
Terrifier guy.
yeah, but think
they're
less
less-
Terrifier.
and they're not
And
colorful.
more like I would let this person entertain my children during their birthday party, but he would be like it's very like opera esque.
Well, yeah, because they only painted
Oh,
their
there's-
faces white. They didn't
what
really like exaggerate the
there's-
details of their. They
There's
would.
that guy that's in LA that does that. He does covers of like Radiohead and stuff. What's his name?
Oh yes,
He does the
he's good. He's good.
I can't remember his name. Anyway,
And he's a Perot. That's what they call those guys.
Yeah, I guess
Perot,
I
for
guess
sure.
so.
He does
Yeah,
the whole everything.
or at least in Perot
So he was a
garb.
part of a troop.
Yeah,
or
he
trope,
started. He
troop.
started the troop while he was in the military, and then after he got out, his mom died of the flu in 1918, and that was rough. So he joined another Perot troop in 1919, and that's where he met his wife, Kathleen Marsh.
Was she in the troop?
Yeah, she was a performer. I don't know if she was in. Yeah, she was in the troop too. That's how they met each other. But she was also a smart business lady who had a lot.
Kathleen Marsh. You
Kathleen Marsh, that was
said?
her
I went
name.
to high school with the Kathleen Marsh.
It was probably her
Probably
daughter.
the same person.
No,
It has to
it's
be.
probably just like her
It
daughter.
has to be. I mean, but we've only been in here for 45 minutes. But I feel like we've been.
Yeah,
in
it's
here-
still just been 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
my
who are you to tell
my
me that
tummy's starting to itch, and I've got this weird discharge
Tell me
coming
what
out
you
of
have
it.
to do with any of this? Is that what you would?
I don't know. I just feel like I'm changing. I feel kind of sexual too. Anyway,
It's palpable. It can feel the energy.
someone give me a VHS tape.
I
I
thought you were
have
about to
this
say
overwhelming
somebody give me-
urge to shove it into myself.
Somebody give me a cheeseburger.
They're about to say, somebody give me a V8, please. No.
Should have had a V8.
Sounds great.
So they started dating and then became a double act.
Okay.
But he was funnier.
Okay.
So he became a solo act, started doing variety shows, did that for about a decade. And then in 1930 or 1929, he found an agent, a new agent from the one he had before named Julius Jaruski.
Mm.
And from then on, he's just exploded everywhere. He was going to like the London Palladium, the Holborn Empire. These were huge concert venues. He was top billed, like
you were
out of
saying-
nowhere. He just
correct me if I'm wrong. You said that he was one of like the first like technically stand-up comedians, right? Like just a solo bill, just him. He wasn't a part of like a group of acts or anything. He was.
yeah, at this point he was.
That's cool.
He was top billed as a solo act. In fact,
What's he on the cover? I've never seen it.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for asking, Jamie. Yeah, also, good time for everybody out there. You know what to do.
Covers.
Whip it out, make your bed with those Sgt. Pepper sheets. We're looking on the left side here. You got your Sutcliffe right above the blue hat. If you just look right of the blue hat, you got a big old smiley face with a white hat. And that's what we're talking about.
like
Mr.
that.
Max Miller.
He's got some like Archie comic vibes. He's got that. He just looks like a good guy.
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna make you laugh.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He's out for chuckles.
Yeah, he's gonna have you over for a nice. It's gonna be a group of people. Have like a nice meal, and he's gonna make you laugh. Like spit out wine.
I trust him.
Oh yeah, I trust
Yeah.
him too.
I trust.
Over
I'd laugh.
a Perot clown, I would trust him over that. Yeah, for sure.
do you want to hear a review of his performance? Because there are written reviews that still exist.
Absolutely.
All
So
right.
let's get a feel, a little taste.
I don't
So
know.
while you're looking it up, Dan. So Joe, I got a question for you on this. Since
I'm not looking
I know you're
anything up.
an expert.
Go ahead.
Well, you're looking it up in your mind because you're plugged into the internet. I thought this is what we were doing.
Oh yeah, we're just using our minds.
So
You're
yeah,
right.
it's like Neo. You're like, I just learned kung fu, but you're
Stop
like,
distracting me from
anyway.
interacting.
So
It's pretty good, Keanu.
you surf the internet and stay plugged in, but my question is, so the cover of the album itself, as far as who they picked and selected, I mean, it's a wide array of different people. Why do you think they picked him as a person?
He's not the only comedian. I think the Beatles did enjoy comedy,
For sure.
especially like a slapstick kind of thing too, like the kind of physical comedy that you were talking about that you enjoy, like Hard Day's Night, just full of that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Um,
Playfulness to it, especially even the new one that Peter Jackson did. I mean, they're just like the most. I mean, it's such a long piece, but like it's awesome. I think the most parts that I like the most were when they were just goofing around. Like whether it was just like, I think there's that one scene where Ringo comes in. And he's like, "Oh, hello, Paul." And Paul's like, "Oh, good morning." And then he was like, "Shall we play piano?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then they just go into this like honky tonk song or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just absolutely ridiculous. And then they just go. They're like, "All right, well, we'll see you later."
now we're gonna write "Let It Be."
Like acting
So-
like that's what their relationship was like, that they would just meet up and immediately start playing like
Yeah, I mean,
robots and then be like,
but
bye.
I feel like you had said, like with Hard Day's Night. I mean, there's a lightheartedness to it, and I think that it made it almost more human about them. Like, I mean, obviously the Beatles at that point in time were like pinnacle, but I feel like when you saw stuff like that, you're like, oh, this is just a regular person, like.
Yeah, they were charming.
But it made it fun too. So, but was that the
for
only comedian or act
no.
that's on there?
No,
I'm not too savvy with everything.
George Carlin's on there.
Which one? Like, is it the frequency that
Yeah.
he becomes,
It's
or is
part
it
of Revolution number 9.
number 9?
It's
Yeah.
during
Oh,
all the
shit.
screaming where you hear
That's
all the
it.
Yeah.
It's that's the frequency. It's the
If
thing
you
that happens.
slow down the song Revolution number 9 to the exact length of George Carlin's first record, it actually is just George Carlin's first record.
just dropping truth bombs over
So-
here. But no, like you got Lenny Bruce. I'd consider
Forgot about Lenny Bruce's on there.
consider Mae West, comedian. You got W.C. Fields, Abbott and Costello.
Mm.
It's loaded. There's that one guy who was like the radio. I think, Dan, you talked about him.
Is it Orson Welles?
He did like the sort of like sitcoms on the radio kind of thing. Remember from season 2?
No.
Well, that reminds me of like those early
Fibber
radio shows.
McGee and Molly.
Tommy Hadley.
Oh, Tommy Hadley.
Yeah, that's the one. Mm-hmm.
Because they would do.
We haven't talked about him in at least an hour and a half.
Definitely not.
Oh my gosh, hour and a half. That was like yesterday,
Right?
but it wasn't.
Feels like it.
Because we're here in Golden Ox Studios.
And we have
Fremont,
been for
Ohio.
at least an hour and a half.
Where time doesn't stand still, but actually is in plank position
Oh yeah, for sure.
the entire time.
Definitely planks and stacks of them because there's multiple layers of it, for sure.
Planks all the way down.
So, I guess the other part of it is like I get it. So when they picked the people to be on there, I guess my question is like, it seems like it's a wide array of things, but a lot of it seems like entertainers or public figures and everything. Did they have a specific direction when they were putting that together? Do you know too much?
They were all just asked to make a list.
Just make a list.
Yeah.
Ringo didn't pick anyone.
I like that though, because that reminds me of like Warhol stuff. Like when Andy Warhol did art, like a lot of the stuff that he picked were things that he grew up with and saw. The
Campbell's soup.
A lot of the TV at that point in time was so big. So like the idea of, popular figures or whatever, even stuff on TV, that became part of his like fabric of his artwork. And I could see that it's interesting to do that with an album cover. It's pretty cool. I was just curious. I didn't know too much about it. I knew a couple of the faces on there, but
Yeah, no, everyone on there is identifiable.
Mm.
Yeah.
You would think Andy Warhol would be on the cover.
no.
Why not?
Well, because I probably at that point in time that would have been no. I think that would have been. I don't think he was in the same realm with them. I think he was more.
Neither was the Rolling Stones, but they had that little picture that says "Welcome, Rolling Stones."
Well, they also did
knew it
Sticky
was-
Fingers album cover with him with the blue jeans with the zipper. Andy Warhol did that.
Okay.
So I think it was a little different. To me, when I think of the Rolling Stones, I feel like they're the gritty Beatles, and Andy Warhol was gritty. It was controversial. So I think them working with them were a little bit more in alignment. I mean, I would see more the Beatles aligning with, and they did stuff with Peter Max for Sgt. Pepper's.
Yeah.
I mean, Yellow Submarine. And Peter Max was the same thing, pop art, but
That's
it
a
was
good
psychedelic.
point.
He did.
The
7
Beatles
Up
might have
Downs.
looked down on Andy Warhol.
A lot of people didn't like Andy Warhol too.
I didn't like Andy Warhol.
He was
Very
polarizing.
pretentious, very much so.
So,
Yeah.
I have a review. Since we're talking about who's this? George Orwell. Is he on the cover?
Who's George Orwell?
I don't know. Who's George Orwell? I guess
Um,
George Orwell was a theater critic from the 1930s and 40s. He was a theater critic because he was, I guess, a struggling writer. So he's a struggling writer / theater critic named George Orwell, whoever the hell that is. But
yeah, like Animal Farm.
yeah, he wrote children's books. Yep. So here's a
In
review.
1984, he wrote a children's book about animals on a farm.
Yeah, it was called Big Bird Goes to Grandma's House.
Yeah, no, Big Bird learns about capitalism.
What would Big Bird say about capitalism? He probably wouldn't understand because he's supposed to be 3 years old.
I don't think he would make any kind of statement.
He'd
But
be like, "What's that mean, Snuffy? What's capitalism?" Anyway, here's George Orwell reviewing
Max Miller.
Max Miller.
Solo performance.
Well, the show was called Applesauce. It was a variety show. He said, anyone wanting to see something really vulgar should visit the Holborn Empire, where you can get quite a good matinee seat for 3 shillings. Max Miller, of course, is the main attraction, but there is a good supporting program with some brilliant sketches. So they were doing sketch comedy back in those days.
Mm-hmm.
And
I feel
then
like that would be a part of like that same type of act though, like a traveling act, like more vaudeville, you know,
Yeah.
Thinking vaudeville, yeah.
physical, like less stand up and everything. But you were saying that he did more stand up.
well, was British. Well, yes, he was a stand-up comedian that did stand-up routines. But when he was starting out, he was doing like theater stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but he wrote jokes, and he ended up being like a stand-up comedian. Max Miller was also compared, just there's another review of Max Miller by George Orwell. George Orwell really liked reviewing Max Miller.
Well, I mean, a lot of writers did that. I mean, if you didn't make any money, you would do stuff like that to make money. You know, like small stuff.
Yeah,
Adds up.
he
Like,
said.
I mean, that's Stephen King did that stuff. I just found out about that recently.
Who's that?
Actually, this might be the same interview.
Stefan Keen.
Stefan Reyes.
Yeah, he did like early on. He just because he didn't have any money, he would do like small little fictional,
Smut pieces.
yeah, like pulp stuff.
Yeah.
Poe also the same way.
He also did stuff for like editorial stuff, like just like what Orwell would do. You know, 'cause if you think about it, it's easy money.
Yeah. Do you think Philip Dick ever did any smut?
No, I feel like Philip Dick did a couple of cooking books.
Really?
Oh yeah, Interstellar Cooking, cookbook for the Black Hole,
You're
Supernova.
just making these up.
Look it up. I'm being honest.
Here's something that George Orwell said. This is
1001 ways to cook electric sheep.
Yeah.
Exactly. There you go,
1001.
right there. You're on board with it. You get what I'm saying.
We can cook it for you. We can cook it for you wholesale. I'm done. I don't care anymore. George Orwell,
He cared.
he did. He cared so much.
How much
He
did
went on, he went on to say that on the vulgarity of Max Miller, that it's important such comedians exist. They express something which is valuable in our civilization and which might drop out of it in certain circumstances. To begin with, their genius is entirely masculine. A woman cannot be low without being disgusting, whereas a good male comedian can give the impression of something irredeemable and yet innocent, like a sparrow. Again, they're intensely national. They remind one
That
of
did
how
not age well.
closely. Yeah.
No.
Hey, George Orwell is entitled to say that he doesn't think women are funny.
You're starting to sound like Sean
They probably
Connery right
can't write science fiction
now.
either.
Yeah, you've got the Sean Connery vibes going on. Every once in a while, you just gotta slap them.
Sometimes I think I'm too funny. They won't stop laughing, and then I just have to slap the shit out of them. If only I wasn't so fucking funny. Is that what he said?
So Miller was a little bit more on the more provocative side, pushing the envelope.
Oh, yeah, they called him the Cheeky Chappie.
Cheeky Chappie.
Oh man,
Yeah.
you didn't start off with that. That's a cool fact. The cheeky chappie.
Way to
Yeah.
bury the lead there.
Cheeky chappie.
Cheeky Chappie.
They called him the
So-
Cheeky.
Rolls off the tongue really well. Cheeky chappie.
Well, it's English slang. It's British slang.
Wow.
Cheeky Chappie.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that's the inspiration.
For the Cheeky Chappie?
No, Cheeky Chappie inspired that song.
Cheeky Chappie.
Bow, bow.
Cheeky Chappie. It's English slang, and it translates to the amusingly disrespectful man. That's what that means.
Cheeky.
The Cheeky Chappie. He was the Cheeky Chappie, which basically is just like saying the amusingly disrespectful man. That's what that means. Because you're being like,
Thank you for all those synonyms.
yeah, I like it though,
Yeah.
because I think the way they did it was better. If he was an American comedian, he would have just been the amusingly disrespectful man, and that wouldn't have
He would
been.
have just been called the American.
You think they would have just called him the American?
It's short and sweet.
Yeah.
That
That's
just
fair.
that actually encapsulates the American experience.
There's only one way that you can really watch this guy's stand-up act because almost everything he ever did has been lost with time.
Mhm.
But there's a movie that he made that still exists called Hootsman. I don't know what it's about, but it's about a stand-up comedian named Harry Hawkins,
Harry Hawkins and
played
the
by Max
Hendersons.
Miller. They even gave him alliteration in his name. So like obviously Max used his own stand-up for the scenes where the character Harry Hawkins had to do stand-up, and that is really the only way that you can see what Max Miller's stand-up routine was like. Was by watching the movie Hootsman.
Hootsman. What's his real name again? It wasn't Max, right? It was like Theodore.
It's like three. It was like a three name.
Well, they called him Harry.
No, but you had said there was a.
Like Max
Yeah,
Miller's name isn't even.
His full name is Thomas Henry Sargent. His friends called him Harry,
Okay.
and then he changed his name to Max Miller, the cheeky chappy. The cheeky chappy.
Is it Max Miller, the guy that did Sin City?
I think so.
Frank Miller.
Frank Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's his like grandson, I'm pretty sure.
Everybody is just related to all of our context that we're talking to.
Isn't
Yeah.
everybody with the same last name related if you go back far enough?
That's why we have all this red string here, drawing everyone together.
Yeah, geez, I forgot about that. There's a lot of red string in here. Not a lot of people can see it, but it's here.
I think like if your name is Postman or something like that, or Mailman, or like Goldman,
Birdman.
maybe you're, but like what about weird names like Henderson? That just
Henderson?
means like son of Hender.
I don't know.
Why would
you
there
talking
be
about, like, in the
multiple
context?
families? Why would there be multiple people that name their kid Hender? It's not even a real name. So you would think that it would stand to reason that everyone with the last name Henderson, if you go back far enough, probably related.
Yeah.
At some point, right?
I see the logic there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to name your kid Hender?
No.
Are you going to name your kid Hender?
No, because I don't have that name.
No, as a first name, you mean, right?
Yeah, as a first name.
No, absolutely not.
Obviously.
I mean, don't
'Cause
get
then
me
their
wrong.
last
Harry and
name
the
would-
Hendersons is probably one of my like top tier favorite '90s movies.
And who was Hender in that movie?
Well, Harry was the Sasquatch,
Yeah.
and the Hendersons were the family that lived in Seattle that hit him with their car.
Right.
It's not even why no.
And then he would jump
Nope.
up when he would sit down
Nope.
on the couch. He had to jump up first for some reason because he couldn't just sit down. He had to jump up and then slam his butt onto the couch. And every time he'd go through the floor.
Yeah, but
Because his Hender was so
son,
sunny.
So Max Miller was known for being kind of pervy. Once TV came around, he kept going, but he didn't really like TV that much because he didn't feel like it had the same give and take kind of energy of a live audience. He really liked the live audience. He liked being there and feeling what people are feeling and going off of that. And TV just didn't have that. Plus, he couldn't be naughty on TV. He could be naughty in his live shows, and he was naughty. Benny Hill was quoted as saying by his own agent, Benny Hill's agent and close friend Peter Charlesworth, as saying that Max Miller was one of the main reasons that Benny Hill got into comedy. And Benny Hill was one of the perviest guys in comedy, so if he thought that chappie was cheeky, then he must have been a pretty cheeky chappie, right?
you got to know the cheek.
Benny Hill was like tying ladies' bikinis to strings while they weren't paying attention, and then he would like pull a little cord, and
They
then
hate that.
bikinis would fly off, and then he'd start chasing them around. Right?
They hate when you do that.
They don't like it. You chase them around, take all their clothes off. And he started doing comedy because of the Cheeky Chappie. And we can never even see how cheeky that guy was because
Cheeky as chaps were.
unless we watch the movie Hootsman.
Hootsman.
If we can find
Hootsman.
Hootsman, I really want to watch Hootsman because I want to see what was considered cheeky back then.
Yeah. I'd be curious.
Yeah, risque humor.
Here's some catchphrases that he used. Maybe they'll give some insight.
We love catchphrases.
It also says that he was the master of the double entendre. What is a double entendre?
It's when you say two things at once. They mean the same. They mean two things, but you say one thing and it means two.
Give me an example.
It makes it easy to, like, so the purpose of a double entendre is so you don't have to say two things. You can just say one thing. So if I want to tell a girl that her boobies are nice, but I also want to say that I like there's like soup and I want to eat the soup because it's good soup, I could be like, those are some nice cans. And then I like get to say both of those things at the same time. I can express that I like the cans because I've had the soup before and it's good, but I'm also saying that she has nice boobs and I don't have to say both of those things and have her be like, why did you say that you like my boobs and then start immediately talking about Campbell's chicken noodle soup? You know? Because that's like a weird
because if you say-
juxtaposition.
Wow, check out those cans. She's gonna be like, yeah, they're a good size. They're a B plus, you know, and that soup does look really good. She just immediately would know that. I feel like that's a horrible example, Dan.
I mean, you're expecting a lot of a person.
I think it was a fine example, Dan.
Thank you. Here are some of his catchphrases. Now, here's a funny thing. Listen, listen. I hope I'm doing these right.
Wow. They're pretty riveting.
There'll never be another. They don't make them anymore, duck. It's
Quack.
people like you who give me a bad name. It's all clever stuff, no rubbish.
No rubbish.
How's your memory, gal? That one's kind of weird.
Hmm.
I feel like it's strange to ask a girl how her memory is doing.
How's your memory, gal?
Asking for a friend.
It's like,
You
why do
remember
you
me
why do you
trying
need
to-
to know how my memory is doing? Am I
Take your
supposed
top
to
off.
forget something? Yeah. Just take your top off. All right, I'm just fuck it, I'll just pull the string.
No rubbish.
It's all clever stuff.
All clever.
Here's another one. Miller's the name, lady. Or maybe it's Miller's the name, lady.
Probably the first way.
No, I think it's the first way. There's a comma, so I don't.
You'd think people would know his name if he was.
Well, he was the Cheeky Chappie. Maybe people were used to calling him Cheeky. Maybe they just called him Cheeks. Plus, before he was the Cheeky Chappie, he was just Harry, which isn't even like Harry
Nah,
is
he's
short
too
for
clean.
Harrison
He was too clean shaven.
or Harold.
Pictures of him. His suits were very eccentric too.
He wore a cowboy hat though.
Very eccentric outfits.
Absolutely.
Look at that. Looks like he's like ready to go golfing, be a stand-up clown. Yeah. Look at that tie. It's
Yeah.
huge. It's fantastic.
Can't you tell your tie's too wide?
He looks like Popeye came into some money.
And didn't know how to spend it.
Here's another one. It's called I don't care what I say, do I?
See?
That's
guess not.
nice, Maxie.
That's
I feel
really
like
nice.
that's a hard one because if you're gonna have your catchphrase have someone else's name in it, that means that person has to be around every time you want to say your catchphrase.
Yeah.
So he was considered blue comedy too.
Oh yeah,
Also
he had
wrote-
two notebooks. He had a white notebook
yeah.
and he had a blue notebook. And
Yeah.
he wrote all of his clean jokes in the white notebook, and he wrote all of his dirty jokes in the blue notebook.
Is that where blue comes from?
So this almost has similar vibes
I
like
don't
Lenny
think-
Bruce. Lenny Bruce is on there. Lenny Bruce was very controversial.
Oh,
as
yeah.
far as his bits that we do, and we got arrested a bunch of times. So maybe even that
Seen.
even factors into the Beatles' choice for it. I mean, he seems like he was a very radical kind of dude.
And you can't help but liking him. That's one of his catchphrases too.
Yeah.
Can't help but liking him.
And look at me. I look great.
And then here's my favorite. Ear.
Here.
Like, but drop the
well,
H.
It's
got a little-
it's here,
oh.
but you drop the H.
Oh, just
so
ear.
it's got like a main vibe.
Ear. Yeah, like get over here.
Yeah, sir. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nose.
Yeah.
Mouth.
Yeah.
Knees,
Throat.
please.
There'll never be another.
Eyeballs.
They don't make them anymore, Duck.
They don't make any more, Duck.
Anyway, yeah, he couldn't be naughty on TV, so he stuck to live performances and records. And he was a beast. He kept performing, just killing it until 1958. He had a heart attack, and even then, he kept making records until 1963 after he stopped performing live because he needed to take it easy.
Take it easy.
Died on May 7th, 1963 at 68. 68 years old, not that old.
Womp womp. Dinner for one.
And his wife, Kathleen, she lived 9 more years. Died in 1972.
So Kathleen,
here's a
Kathleen,
good
you
one.
got to see his picture on the cover.
She would have gotten to see that. I wonder if she was the one that they got permission from.
She's probably the executor of the Cheeky Chappie estate.
Oh my gosh.
Cheeky Chappie Co.
Oh Lord.
CCC. Cheeky
I'm
Chappie.
just finding some of
Chateau.
his,
Chateau the Cheeky.
his blue book naughty ones,
Yeah?
and some of these are pretty naughty.
Oh, you found the jokes?
Did you know the roses are red one?
No.
No.
I'm gonna start off with the one that's a little bit.
Roses are red. Pussies are juicy.
Oh, it gets pretty close. So this one is actually about. Okay, I'll start off with this one. I went skating the other week with a young lady on the ice, and we'd been going around for quite a while, and she kept on falling down. I said, "Have you hurt yourself?" She said, "No, I'm sorry to spoil your fun." I said, "You're not spoiling my fun. I'll keep it on ice."
I don't get it.
About
Oh,
spoiling
Because the fun would.
So it doesn't
You're not
Yeah.
spoiling my fun. I'll keep it on ice.
Yeah.
This is the naughty one, though. When roses are red, they're ready for plucking. When a girl is 16, she's ready for. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the yeah.
Ready for yeah.
It's the drop the H and ERE. What? Oh, good Lord. That no wonder they didn't let him on TV.
Well, his mom died of the flu. So I
It doesn't
think.
have anything to do with me not being able to be on TV.
No, oh, well, yeah. That's fair, but I was
Like,
more.
you know what? We can't let him
I
be on
was
TV.
more
His
thinking
mother
like you
just
had to
died.
get married before you died back then.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Or got polio, because if a woman gets
Or the
polio,
Spanish flu.
she's not going to be able to have that baby because her pelvic muscles aren't going to be strong enough to push it out.
Yeah.
Because you know what polio does, right? Yeah.
Yeah. People can't see.
Yeah.
it, but I just scrunched up a little bit.
You're like, push, damn it. And she's like, I can't feel a thing. Give her an extra husband stitch. She won't know.
What a guy.
They probably would have let him said that on the Sid Caesar show of shows.
Well, in this day and age, if we had kept him cryogenically frozen, he would have fit perfect with Family Guy. Or
Yeah, if we kept him on ice.
yeah.
who knows? They might have kept everybody that was on the album cover on ice, specifically for like 120th anniversary of the album cover. They'll just they'll thaw them, and then they'll have them take the picture again.
I was thinking it'd be fun to host a party where you just get a bunch of impersonators for everyone that's on the cover.
Oh wow, dude!
That'd be
When's your
a
birthday?
party.
I feel like that would be like the ultimate birthday present for you. You'd be like, I'm ready. I'm ready. After this party, just kill me.
kill me.
I've experienced everything.
Or you could just have, to make it simple, you could have everybody wear a cardboard cutout
Nah.
of the exact picture
No,
that they used
no,
for the cover?
No, they're dressing up. They're dressing up. They got the whole thing.
No face things. It has to be the full Monty.
You want
Yeah.
everyone? How many people are you going to have at your birthday?
75 people.
75 people. That's a fair amount of people.
How
That's a
many
good
of
party.
them are just going to be Shirley Temple?
3.
No.
Well, 2.
No.
2
So
and a doll.
that's the whole thing. Is it's first come first serve. There will be a you can submit what you want. There's only so many male or female ones that you can do. First come first serve.
All right.
I've actually wanted to have.
Can someone
it's a
be
little
the
bit of a
kick
departure
drum?
from this, but it's themed.
Uh-huh.
I've always wanted to have a Clue like murder mystery party
Oh,
where you actually
Dress up as Mrs.
obviously you
Peacock.
can't find a manor or a mansion that you could act it out like. In
I
real
call
life.
Mr. Body.
But it would be really cool if each person was a character and you could play Clue. I don't know, maybe you had some like food or something. But yeah.
you got to eat when you're solving a murder mystery.
Oh, for sure.
You can't do that on every stomach.
Yeah, you can't do that. Make the wrong decisions. Make the wrong assumptions.
Grave mistakes.
Mr. Body, I promise I won't tell anyone who killed me. I won't play sides. I
Mr.
won't.
Body dies.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'll be Mr. Body.
And he'll know. He'll know who
I'll
did
know
it.
Who did it? But I won't say anything because the dead can't speak.
People are saying that.
Yuck. yuck.
All clever stuff.
I'm just saying I already have a black suit, and I feel like it would be more cost effective on my part.
Who's your go-to Clue character that you ever picked?
Oh, to play as?
Yeah.
I don't know, any of the dudes.
Colonel Mustard has a pretty good stash.
You have a really fantastic stash.
Oh, thanks, Jamie. I appreciate you saying that. Grew it myself.
I only speak the truth. I was Mr. Green. Oh, I don't know what it was about him.
Is that his name, just Mr. Green?
Yeah, they've actually changed it. So my nephew, he's 8. So we've been going through, we'll play like card games and stuff, like when we do family nights or whatever. And I had brought up Clue. And he was like, "What's Clue?" And I was like, "Oh, it's this really cool game." And I was explaining it to him. And he's like, "We should get that. See if Dad will get that." And so we bought it, and they've changed the names. It's like, oh geez, it's a little bit more modernized, but they definitely like it's not Mr. Green, it's Mayor Green, or I can't remember what the names are. It's hilarious. Let me look it up.
Oh, so that there's no pronouns? Just
And
give
that-
them all
and-
job titles. That would
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah, it's a little bit more.
Is an air fryer one of the new weapons?
Let's see. Here we go. Oh, so it's still Miss Scarlet. She's an independent woman. Colonel Mustard, still Colonel Mustard. Mayor Green, Chef White, and Chef White is, she has like short hair and it's white, so she's like, I don't know, she's got like a pixie cut. Solicitor Peacock,
Solicitor.
and or Professor Plum. Professor Plum stayed the same way, but they definitely changed the characters around.
Chef White, isn't that like the color of Pat Bateman's business card?
Oh, from
American Psycho?
yeah. Oh yeah. Is that?
No, I'm sure it was like bone or tooth.
Yeah. It's yeah, Helvetica,
Helvetica. Double embossed on a
Yeah.
Chef White.
Solicitor Peacock. You know
Hardly
what?
know her
Where does
Peacock.
Where does this stop? I feel like in 5 years it's just going to be cock solicitor. And we're supposed to be cool with that.
I think we
I
should
get to
do-
be cock solicitor.
I think that would be super rad though to get a party. Go.
Yeah, I do too.
Wouldn't that?
Just oh yeah, for sure. I think that would be awesome. Like if you could get, I feel like if we did it collectively, we could easily get. That would be a fun themed party.
You can sell
Find a
tickets.
find a spot that you could like host it.
And
Get
then-
some music.
And then everybody's got to pose. You got to take the picture too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Halloween.
That's the point of it.
Yeah.
Halloween party. Oh my god. All right, I'm already putting stuff.
Stay tuned for that, folks.
Noting this.
More on that as it develops.
Yeah, you could have the poster say there's nothing, no one's going to be lonely at the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band Good Time Party Time Experience.
It sells itself. People like the Beatles. Not everybody, but people love the
Yeah,
Beatles.
not everybody, but the ones that do.
I'd say like 85 to 95. Well, 90%. 85 to 90% of our friends would be like, oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
It does sell itself.
But
and
everybody
that's
likes to
what's
dress
gonna-
up. Yeah.
It does sell itself, and that's what's going to make it so easy for our guests to sell tickets to their guests.
True.
Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band Pyramid Scheme.
Pyramid Scheme.
And all you got to do to join is grow,
Your
is
Sgt.
grow a
Pepper's
mustache.
Three easy
Hearts Club
payments of
Band Good
$65.95.
Time Sparkling Waters, and your Sgt. Pepper Lonely Hearts Club Band Good Time podcast clipboards, and get to stepping on your Sgt. Pepper Lonely Hearts Club Band Good Time sneakers, because you're gonna need them. You're gonna need them. We want you going door to door.
Door to door. It's all,
Y-Files did that.
we know that works.
Do you know
Wi-Fi's went door to door.
No, the Y-Files did sneakers.
Of course they did.
Sneakers, yeah. Limited edition ones. The tipping point. It's crazy. Limited edition sneakers.
Speaking of tipping points, let's tip this into the finale of the show. Let's wrap this one up.
Yeah.
Max Miller. He's got to go.
He's canceled. We're canceling him. Who's getting his spot? Huh. Bo Burnham? I don't know. I want to say Too Easy.
Just because it's easy.
Noel Fielding.
Who's that?
Noel
Randy
Fielding?
Bush. Randy Bush.
Yeah, he's one half.
Oh, yeah, okay. Is he the one that's on the
Very posh.
one also in the IT crowd?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
a
the Raven.
vampire guy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Is it Raven or whatever?
I don't remember his name. He works
It's
in
like,
like
it's
the-
like Raven Black
in the records room or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, he's awesome. I love him. He's great. He was actually just on Jimmy Fallon not too long ago.
Is he
He's got
pretty
a movie.
risque?
I think he's more like his whole shtick was like he was very
Irreverent.
like he had that like Rod Stewart, Bowie, Jagger, like aesthetic with the mullet and everything. So I think he was more like very posh rock star vibe.
Yeah, he's also on the British Bake Off show too.
Correct. Yes.
Mhm.
And he does wear cowboy hats.
He
Not
wears
all the
them well.
time, but he
wears
def-
them well.
he
And the Mighty
defi-
Boosh was, classic.
And he's British.
That checks the boxes.
I'm not saying that that's perfect
Check.
because I don't know that he's known for being. Oh, you know what? What about
He's a
Russell
little blue.
Brand?
Russell
Russell
Bl-
Brand
he's a little more blue.
Also, like 16-year-old girls.
Oh my god.
Specifically,
He's very cheeky.
he is cheeky. How about fictional character Austin Powers?
Sure. I'll
Just
go
a
with
random fictional
that.
character?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We have Phil Collins as the Robin Williams genie as one of the
Or
replacements.
other way around, the
That's
genie as.
It doesn't matter. It's just no.
Oh, well, it's Robin Williams as the genie as Phil Collins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the picture is a blue Phil Collins with a genie outfit.
That really is all it is.
So we're talking about explain. So we're talking about a replacement for this.
Yeah. And there's no real rules. Like in the last episode you were on, we switched out Sutcliffe with his wife,
Oh yeah. Okay.
Astrid,
Let's see.
which I was mentioning earlier in that 45 minutes that I got the new information on Sutcliffe. We talked about that guy Klaus Foreman. So he ended up playing with George and Paul, I think it was, on their solo albums.
Oh, solo albums? Did
Yeah.
you do the Contra for George stuff? I'm gonna be curious. I just actually got the DVD of that. I've been wanting to watch that because I love George's solo stuff.
Love George.
Yeah.
I don't know. He might have died before that.
Hmm.
I don't know, but I know that he's like on the recordings on like the first couple solo albums for
Pretty cool. That's awesome.
the solo Beatles.
What's your? Oh wait, no. I'm sorry, but I don't want to get off track. But
Yeah, we don't do that on this show.
what's your favorite solo
Ram.
McCartney?
Ram. Every time Ram.
Forgot this is another example of why we're friends. What about George?
All things must pass.
Okay, so
But Ringo.
that's a wrap. So we're just gonna leave. We're about to go frolic as best friends.
Yes.
But what about Ringo? Yeah.
Probably I only like have like one live all-star band thing.
I was gonna say I feel like there's only really just
He has a Christmas album I learned about.
you gotta have a Christmas album. I mean,
The other Beatles don't.
another reason why you gotta have a Christmas album. You're the only Beatle that has it.
You know he does Little Drummer Boy on there.
You have to. I mean, that would be just
Wired.
ridiculous if you didn't. That's a given. It's a given.
Got it.
Who we got?
And this is a compromise. Another Mike Myers fictional character.
Oh, don't say the Guru.
No, the little English boy Simon, who likes to do drawings, because he's always calling people cheeky monkeys.
Cheeky
monkey.
Cheeky monkey, cheeky
He's like
butt
the
looker.
craft work.
Cheeky butt
He's
looker.
got the-
Yeah,
Yes, monkey.
that's Dieter from Sprockets.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were
That's
talking
a
about.
no. He plays a little boy in a bathtub, and he
Yeah.
draws drawings.
On SNL, right?
My name is Simon, and I like
Yes.
to do drawings.
That's it.
I don't remember that.
Cheeky monkey,
Yeah, he's
bum looker.
That's it.
So it's Mike
like that.
Myers as Simon, the cheeky monkey.
Brilliant.
All right.
perfect.
Do you guys want to do anything with AI today?
Do we have anything to do?
I don't know. I got nothing.
How about, and I would recommend doing a hard edit right now.
Uh-huh.
How about you pull something up for Mae West having some really cheeky conversation with the cheeky chappie? Because who was cheekier than Mae West?
All right, so we got ChatGPT in the chat. We gave it a little prompt for a little cheeky conversation between your favorite and mine, Mae West, who will be played by Legthigh, and our new friend, Max Miller, as performed by Dan.
Yeah, because they're pretty close to each other on that cover. There's no way they didn't.
Yeah.
No
Wow.
way they didn't get into it.
No, yeah, they're in the same quadrant.
Oh, well, if it isn't Max Miller, the cheekiest chap in town, what's the latest mischief you've been stirring up, mister?
Oh, May, darling, you know me too well. Just trying to keep up with your scandalous standards. How's tricks, love?
Oh, Max, you know me. Always sitting on the pot, raising a few eyebrows. Just enough about me, darling. What's your secret to keeping the audience in stitches?
Oh, May, it's all about timing and a little sprinkle of naughtiness. You know, a wink here, a nudge there, and before you know it, they're roaring with laughter.
Timing and naughtiness sounds like my kind of recipe. Say, Max, have you ever thought about joining forces for a double act? The world might not be ready for that much charm and cheek in that in one show.
May, darling, if we joined forces, the stage might combust from the sheer sassiness. But what a way to go out with a bang!
Oh, Max, you always know how to make a gal feel like $1,000,000. Well, let's save the fireworks for the stage, shall we? Who knows what trouble we could cook up together?
Trouble with us? Darling, it's practically guaranteed. But isn't that half the fun?
Oh, absolutely, darling. After, as they say, too much of a good thing can be wonderful. And with us, it's bound to be a downright scandalous.
Enough beating around the bush. Let's fuck.
ChatGPT getting real blue.
That was cool. That was kind of mild for what I expected out of Mae West and Max Miller. Maybe Mae West was too old for Max Miller.
Who knows?
What's the math there? Wouldn't?
Well, I mean, she's not exactly 16.
Oh, yeah, okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah, that is Max's
He did have a preference.
preference. Yeah, that's true.
Well, Winston, thank you for joining us again.
Thank you for having me.
We'll love to have you again when the stars align.
Yeah, I would love to. It'd be great.
And Dan, always a pleasure
Always a pleasure.
discussing.
So, just maintaining and experiencing the new flesh, watching our bodies metamorphosize and become one with the walls of the room.
Turned into Jack Nicholson there for a second.
Did I?
Yeah. There's a little draw.
Well, it's always a pleasure to be here, and hope to do it again real soon.
You will, Jack. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Petty. Not Tom Petty. George Petty, the artist. Because the next figure is a painting by
Alright.
Mr. Petty.
Mr. George Petty.
It's a petty girl.
Petty girl.
Until then,
Good night. Well, actually, is it nighttime now?
We don't know.
It's only been 45 minutes.
until then, good time.
At least an hour.
Good times.
Good time.
Good times.
What was the name of this show that Max Miller did? This movie? What was the movie? That's a good word.
Hootman.
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 And a Hootman to you.